Hello, my name is Jonathan Spolton. This is a lesson from International House London, all about music vocabulary. I'm going to start off by looking at some genres. How many music genres can you think of? Genre is another word for type of music or kind of music. It's also used with films. So for example, on the left, you can see Yo-Yo Ma with his cello, okay? That would be an example of classical music. So take 1 minute, pause the video and make a list. How many more genres of music can you think of? Okay, let's see if you got all of these. So on the top left, Bob Marley, of course, reggae music. Next to him, you can see a man singing opera. And then we've got, of course, pop music. In the top right, you could call this rock or metal. Underneath, you've got Kendrick Lamar there, sort of a rapper, rap music or hip hop music. Down at the bottom right, this could be called blues or folk. Some people would call it traditional music or roots music. Yeah. Down at the bottom in the middle, obviously a nightclub. This could be house music, dance music, electronic music. It could be techno. And sometimes you'll hear EDM for electronic dance music. Yeah. Bottom left, we've got Miles Davis, of course, playing jazz. Okay, now interesting and common mistake students make is the difference between classic and classical. Classical is a genre of music played by orchestras, violins, cellos, etc. Classic means old and popular, and you can use it with any genre. For example, the Beatles produced many classic rock albums in the 60s. But you could also, talk about a classic hip-hop album, a classic reggae album, a classic jazz album, and it's also used in other things as well. You can have a classic drama, a classic romance film, yeah, and even classic cars, yeah. So things that are sort of old and still very popular. So let's think about what kind of music you listen to. Now, when we're talking about music, we'll often use expressions about what we like and don't like. Have a look at the expressions in blue. Can you rank them from I like it the most to I like it the least? Okay, pause the video and see what you can do. Okay, let's check your answers. So at the top, I absolutely love. Next to that, I'm really into. I like a lot. I don't mind is in the middle. It's okay. Yeah, I'm not that bothered about. I don't really like it. I don't hate it, but it's negative. And then I really can't stand is very negative. Yeah, I hate it. Yeah. So for me personally, I absolutely love. I love rock. I love metal. I used to listen to a lot of metal when I was growing up. I'm really into jazz at the moment, and I'm really into a lot of traditional music, a lot of blues and roots music as well. I don't mind classical music, but it depends on my mood. Sometimes I really like it. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. I'm not that bothered about opera, to be honest. Doesn't really grab me. I don't really understand it. And personally, I really can't stand techno music. I just find it really boring. I much prefer music with musicians and musicians playing together, not just one person on a computer. Okay. So now you try it. Okay. Pause the video. Okay, and try to make a sentence with each of these expressions, talking about the variety of music that you like. You might, of course, include varieties that we haven't already talked about. So on this list, you could talk about techno, you could talk about reggaeton, you could talk about ska, you could talk about country music, okay? So have a think, pause the recording and make your own sentences. Okay, let's move on to look at some expressions, okay? So we've got some sentences here. We've got the beginning of the sentence on the left in blue, and then the end of the sentence in green. And you have to match them together to make a complete sentence. For example, the first one, they had. Okay, so what does have connect with? So have choruses have a massive hit. That makes sense. Yeah, so they had a massive hit with their last single. They had a big hit, a big success. Okay, pause the recording and give yourself a couple of minutes, try to match the rest of them. Okay, let's see how many of these you got. So the first one, we talked already, they had a massive hit with their last single, big success. Second one, she gave an incredible performance. So this is about live music, of course, and to give adjective performance, give a great performance, give a terrible performance. We can change the adjective, but to give a performance is a nice expression you can use. Next one, she split from the band and went solo. Yeah, so to go solo is to start performing alone by yourself, not with a group or with a band. Okay. Next one, they're due to go on tour later this year. So to go on tour, of course, to travel around performing in different cities, different venues, different places, possibly different countries if they're a really successful band. Okay. Next one, they've just released their debut album. Now, debut means first, so you can have a debut album, debut single. Released is the verb that is commonly used when they put out new music. So you release a new album, release a new single, release a new video. It's also used with films, to release a new film. And also used with products. Yeah, so they've released the new iPhone, or they've released the new piece of technology. So here they've just released their debut album to critical acclaim. Critical acclaim means the critics thought it was high quality. So all the journalists in the newspapers, they gave it 5 stars. Yeah. Next one, their songs have really catchy choruses. Everyone can sing along. The chorus is the part of the song that's repeated several times and is usually the most melodic, and is often the part that everyone enjoys the most and will sing with the band. Yeah, catchy means it's very, very easy to remember. Okay, so catchy chorus, catchy melody, a catchy song is one that you hear it once or twice and it stays in your head. You can remember it easily. You'll be lucky to get tickets. Get tickets, buy tickets. Yeah, that's the collocation. I think they're already sold out. If they've sold out, there's no tickets left. Too late. Okay. The last one, their new material is likely to appeal to a much wider audience. Appeal to means people will enjoy it, people like it, and a wider audience, more people. So maybe their first album only appealed to a small number of people, but their second album appealed to more people. Okay, new material is another nice expression that we can use for anything new that a group or musician or band produces, whether that's a single, an album, a video, etc. So, who are you listening to at the moment? Okay. I want you to talk about an artist or group or band that you enjoy listening to at the moment. Tell me about the band, the genre of music. Think about the latest single, the most recent single, maybe the most recent album or video. And what's your favorite track? Okay. What do you like about them? And how did you hear about them? And remember to use the expressions from this lesson. If you need to, rewind the video, go back, have a look at those expressions. I'll start off with an example of my own. Okay, so I'm really into Haim at the moment. They're 3 sisters from Los Angeles. I think I first heard them on the radio. They've been around for a while, but I hadn't really listened to them before. Their last album was released during lockdown, so I listened to it a lot then. It's a sort of pop rock album, and there's a good mix of different kinds of songs with some slow ballads like Hallelujah and some more energetic rock numbers like The Steps, which is my personal favorite. I think they had their biggest hit with Summer Girl, which is really catchy. The videos are all shot around LA, where they live, and they're quite funny. They seem to have a good sense of humor, and they don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah, I absolutely love the video to Don't Wanna. It's just really simple and effective. It captures the competitive relationship between family and especially between brothers or sisters. Yeah. I actually managed to get tickets to see them live in London, but of course the show was postponed because of lockdown and it still hasn't happened. Yeah, I've watched a few live videos on YouTube and they give a great performance. The bass player, especially Esther, always looks like she's having a really amazing time. So let's have a look at my example. Okay, so I've highlighted the expressions that we've used from this lesson in red. So you can see I'm really into the last album was released, had their biggest hit with, you know, I absolutely love, etc. And I've added some more nice expressions in green. Yeah, I first heard them on the radio, first heard them on Spotify, I first heard them on whatever you listen to, okay, etc. So these green expressions might be helpful for you as well when you're trying to make your own example. So I want you to think about which language from the lesson you can use, and maybe which language from my example you can steal and use to make your own sentences, okay? So pause the video, okay, and make some notes and give yourself some time to create some sentences using the language we've looked at today, thinking about these prompts, okay? Have a go. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the lesson.